This morning, we begin with your election authority. The past couple of weeks has been a whirlwind of a storm for Democrats after the fallout from Biden's poor debate performance to his historic announcement he would step down with a little more than 100 days to go until election day. To now where we find a large part of the Democratic Party standing behind their next potential nominee, Vice President Kamala Harris. This morning, we're joined by Representative Eric Sorensen. He represents part of Rockford, Freeport, Peoria, and Bloomington. He's here to bring us the latest from Capitol Hill, especially after a busy week for his party. Good morning, Congressman.
Good morning, Manny. Good to be with you.
Good morning. Now, before we begin, I wanted to talk to you about legislation you just introduced that you just recently passed the House. The All-American Flag Act will require the government to only buy flags that are entirely made in the U.S. You actually introduced this with another Republican on the House, Congresswoman Nancy Mace. Tell us how you were able to build consensus with the other side of the aisle. And is this something you'll be able to build on to pass bigger legislation in the future?
Right, Manny. I mean, that's a great question because right from the beginning, this is something that had been talked about on Capitol Hill for a long time. The fact that your tax dollars can go to the federal government, then the federal government will go and outsource American flags made in China. And so this legislation, and very soon to be this law, means that 100% of all American flags that the federal government purchases must be made wholly in the greatest country in the world by the greatest people in the world. And so working across the aisle to get South Carolina Congresswoman Nancy Mace on board, I had a conversation with her. And I said, would you sign on and co-sponsor this with me? And she looked at it and she said, yeah, I'll do that, Congressman. And then it came to the floor of the House in a debate, and it passed unanimously. Just this week. So it really shows that bipartisanship does work. This is proof of it. And then swift passage by Senator Sherrod Brown of Ohio means that this will go to the president's desk. It'll get signed, and there will be real progress. And that's something that's come few and far in between in this Congress.
Congressman, hope to see more bipartisan bills coming from the House. Now, it was exactly 2 weeks after Biden's debate that you posted on X asking President Biden to, quote, step aside in his campaign for president, unquote. What did those 2 weeks look like? Not many people in your party were coming out saying what you posted that day. What ultimately led you to make that decision? Was it the president's debate performance? Did you speak to voters, or was it something you personally saw?
Yeah, first and foremost, I'm guided by the people of our district. I'm one of the very few people that has the honor of working in the United States Capitol without a background in politics. And this is another proof point of that. I hear from people back home. I also am cognizant, Manny. I see my 80-year-old parents, and I see them aging. And aging does happen. And when I look, and I'm dealing in Congress with all of the threats around the world, we can't ignore the fact that we need the strongest leader possible to stand up and make sure that democracy survives, even in this election coming up. And so it meant that I needed to stand on my own 2 feet. And you know what? Leadership is hard. And I took some heat from people even within my own party. But look at where we are here today. We're incredibly united. We're stronger than we've ever been before, beyond, for our nominee looking forward. And I took a call from a constituent who said, Congressman, we need somebody who's going to help me achieve my dreams in the next 4 years. It's not about finishing a job. It's not about talking about a golf game on a debate. This is about real substance. And I'm really hopeful, and I'm glad that we're going to have somebody at the top of the ticket that's going to help us seek our dreams and achieve them.
Well, 2 weeks later, that risk is looking to be paying off. I have one last question for you, Congressman. Describe in one word, what's it feeling like on Capitol Hill with this new presumptive presidential nominee behind Vice President Kamala Harris?
Look, I think the number one word is excited. We're excited for the future because we have a choice here of going back to a time or moving forward to what we want our country to be. And so I really look forward to making sure that people feel that fire within them, that when they go to the ballot box on November 5th, you're doing something amazing for our country. We need the top of the ticket. We need that presidential candidate to be able to do that. That will be Kamala Harris, but that is also important because right underneath her name will be my name. And so people have to understand that Congressman Eric Sorensen has done good for his hometown of Rockford and the rest of the district.
Thank you, Congressman, for your time this morning. We hope to bring you back as we're just a little over 100 days until the general election this November.